Well, guess what? You're now live on the AOX account. Alex was talking right before we went live. This is his first time on Riverside. Fantastic platform, fantastic people. We got Jaja in the house. Jaja was popping.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Same old doing some live streams. We got Mr. Johnny Ringo in the house. What's going on, man?
Oh, just sharing this on the Discord. Sorry, I keep looking away, making sure the people in Discord can see it, but that's what I do. I make sure the people in Discord get the info.
God bless you for doing that because I know that is no easy task. And last but not least, we've got the guest of the hour, the one, the only, Mr. Alex. Mr. Alex was popping, baby.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining here. Now, first of all, I think it's funny that Alex is like 10 feet away. I always find that hilarious. But he is. We're all in the Ford. He and I are in the Ford research offices, the HQ, so to speak. Alex, I actually want to start off. Usually I just say, hey, guest, give us your little 90-second spiel. But since I know you a little bit better, I thought I would start with your interesting background when it comes to travel and where you've lived in the world. So you're from Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
Went to Berlin. Now you're in New York City. I'll just jump right in here. We'll get into the other bits about how you're going to Arweave later, but I'm kind of curious. When you work with the permaweb, does your sort of like geographical travels influence the way that you think about like permanent compute, permanent storage? Have you does the culture in the States compared to the culture you see in Europe, and then the microcultures they're in, like you were in Berlin, for example, how has that shaped how you think about Arweave and AO?
Yeah, definitely. So, the permaweb and the whole community is so international, so it definitely it broadened my horizons when I was traveling, when I was traveling to Berlin and going back and forth from the States to Germany. And then when I got involved with the permaweb, it was so interesting to get to know people from all over the world and get to learn about all these different cultures. And I think that really is true to what Arweave is trying to build, is this like these decentralized internet archive where you can yeah, anyone can use it. It's permissionless, anyone can access it. So I think it's really international. I think it's really fitting that people are using it all over the world.
There's kind of a there's kind of a thing here where we noticed this during the Berlin like advertising campaign when we had our Weave anniversary in the summer, that there's like two schools of thought: the right to remember, the right to be permanently preserved. If you go to Europe, like what is it? It's the right to forget, right? Like that's kind of their whole shtick with like GDPR and stuff like that. Um, when you were in Berlin and you explained to people like, "Hey, I'm about making sure your data lives forever." What was there? Is there a different reaction than the States where like, "What the? You're supposed to have it deletable all the time." Did that ever come up?
Yeah, so ironically too, I was working before I started with Arweave at a research lab at my university, and it was all about studying GDPR and all these different regulations. And the school of thought there was definitely more about, hey, if you want to have your data removed, you should be able to do that and have it yeah, be able to preserve your personal identity, your privacy. And I do think GDPR, there's a lot of like great ideas with that, but at the same time there's also some different school of thought compared to in crypto and in Arweave and how people were looking at it. So it's definitely different speaking to people over there compared to here. But also when you're in this ecosystem and people that are involved in crypto, there's definitely a small subculture. So even though the broader population might be have a different perspective, I feel like people in crypto have a kind of on the same page with a lot of ideas there.
No, crypto people are freaks. I'll put it
Yeah.
right on out there, like straight up freak show. Like we're
Definitely.
whatever the outlier is for any particular topic, crypto is just way the hell out there. It's like I'll describe it to my wife. I'll be like, yeah, I had an anonymous call with someone who didn't want to voice stocks. And she'd be like, what's voice stocks? Oh, yeah, you're not allowed. They don't want to hear your voice. And they go by, I used to work with a guy who's like blurb with like four B's at the end. Like, I had to call it blurb today. He doesn't voice stock. So he was using a computer, thing to disguise his voice. So yeah, no, crypto is a way out there. Jeff, I'm kind of curious, what's Canada's deal? Like, are they more to the Europe side where it's like, hard, like right to be deleted, or are they sort of like laissez-faire, kind of like in the States?
I think it's more towards the States. Depends who you ask. Like, there's a lot of Canadians that have left Canada, like crypto bros, like Mert or something like that, that are like
Yeah.
F Canada and stuff like that. But I would say that we're always kind of code switching. We could be European,
You would.
we can be
Typical.
American, we could change the letters in our
Oh,
words to
typical.
be
Yeah.
either. We can be
Yeah.
Columbus, we can be Miles. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Speaking French 1 minute, English. Yeah. So I regret even asking this. Um, and you mentioned this just now, Alex. You were studying something, and that's how you came to find Arweave. Did I catch that right or no?
Yeah. So it was yeah, it was a research lab that was archiving like platform policy documents, pretty dry stuff. It was all like the legal documents like privacy policy, terms of service, that type of stuff, and like documenting the changes over time and like how platforms get more strict or more like open. And it was interesting because I feel like that was how I was introduced to the Alex archive because I was like, oh wow, that is an interesting platform for archiving content forever or permanently on Arweave. So that's how I was introduced to that, and I started helping out just kind of part time with the Alex archive, and then yeah, it turned into like a full on thing. I started working there with the Alex archive, and then Bazaar, and then later the Permaweb Journal.
Shout out to you, man. I took journalism because it was like the least amount of credits. Like journalism was smaller than a business school minor. That's how few credits I needed. I was done school like 2 years into college. I was just partying. That's awesome. Congratulations on your academic pursuits. So like at you, so Alex Archives. Actually, to be honest with you, Johnny and Jeff are gonna like shake their heads at me. I'm still not 100% sure what the Alex Archives is or was. It was like the Library of Alexandria? Is that it?
Yeah, that's like what it was. The whole idea behind it. It's like you like support someone to upload content because it's like if you're an archivist, you have to pay for it to upload yourself. Whereas like you can like sponsor someone. So if someone's like a
Mm-hmm.
historian, then they can like set up a pool and then people be like, oh wow, this is really cool. I want to support this. So then they support that archive. So it brings in like a different dynamic, kind of like a Patreon type idea. Like you like support someone that you want to see more content.
And at
Patreon
one
for nerds. I can't believe
Pretty
that didn't
much,
take
yeah.
off. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Sorry, Jeff.
at
What were you
one
saying?
point they were archiving like tweets. I think this is before even X and before like they started charging a bunch for the API and stuff, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that kind of put a damper on our thing there because yeah, it was yeah, very expensive to archive tweets after that.
And Alex still exists because it's on Arweave.
Yep.
It will always exist. It will always exist. There's one thing I would say that I'm trying to best. We've started and stopped on the permaweb of creating like a perma Wikipedia like 4 or 5 times. Whenever like when I first got here, I mean it's a common sense thing, right? Like you guys like our perma Wikipedia is like the most no-brainer, no duh thing. And so at first I was like, oh man, I can't believe no one thought of this. And you go and research, and it's like there've been like several attempts. So we just got to find one and stick with it. Because yeah, like whether we call it the Alex Archives or something else. Uh, it's just the most no-brainer stuff. Okay, note to ourselves. We got to pick up the Alex Archives, and then you move to Bazaar after the Alex Archives. Is that right? And just on the off chance someone's watching this and they don't know what Bazaar is, you might give them a little bit of a run of show.
Yeah, yeah. So Bazaar is pretty much a NFT marketplace. We call them atomic assets. But yeah, you can trade any type of digital asset on Arweave. Also can trade tokens, swap tokens on there. And yeah, the whole idea of Bazaar, it started off with the Alex archives. Like we just wanted a little marketplace to trade some Alex artifacts, and
Mm.
then when like we created Bazaar, we realized, oh, this could be a full-on like decentralized order book, and it's turned into like its own platform now, and then like there's really successful NFT drops on there, and people are trading tokens, so it became like sustainable like as its own platform, and it really is kind of like a bazaar for the permaweb. Anything can be traded on there.
Was Bazaar around during that like what was it, 2021? That NFT like bull rush? Was that, or did we come after? Oh, we missed that?
Yeah, we missed that. Yeah.
Oh no, that would have been prime time moneymaker. Okay. Well, I'm
Just
sure next one.
real quick on that,
Huh.
wasn't the first version of Bazaar on warp contracts on Arweave? I seem to
Yes, it
recall
was.
using the warp DRE node just to talk to it. Like that was some fun times. I remember people releasing just all sorts of collections and spot. Like I even had like a Pepe collection on there at one time, and but yeah, so it's had a couple migrations, and now it's landing on HyperBEAM.
Mm-hmm.
What was Warp? Warp was before. Was that the precursor to SmartWeave or something else entirely? That kind of.
It
Yeah.
So
was a smart
AO was like
contracting language anchored on
Warp to
Arweave. So
SmartWeave and to
yeah,
AO. I gotcha. I see. I see. Cool, cool. And now what do you do?
So yeah, now I started writing. Like I was always on the side, like writing different like blog posts or different like threads about the permaweb, about different projects, and then started publishing them in on the this new platform, Permaweb Journal, and it was built on this new platform called Portal, which is built by the Odysee team. And it's really cool. It's pretty much like a decentralized WordPress or Substack type platform. And yeah, it's been great. I've been publishing articles on there. I've had people contribute articles, and we actually made a print magazine that we are in the process now of getting ready to launch. So it's been really cool to start like to bring together all these different projects, different thinkers and builders in the ecosystem, and give a platform to be able to showcase that and highlight all the stuff that's going on.
There's a couple of things I want to break down here, but first of all, if you're not following, what's your Twitter handle? Shout out, shout out. It's like AF Media. Is that right?
Yeah, at AF Media _.
So Alex does like to write in his spare time. He moved to New York City 2 months ago. He's wandering around Brighton Beach writing blogs by himself. Like, Alex, it's the NFL season. Get your ass in front of a TV. Stop being so like romantic and just chill. But it's very cool, very good photography and very good blog. So you definitely have been writing a lot. And so now we have the Permaweb Journal, and I want to break this down. So it's a portal. Portal was created by Odysee. Were you guys the first, or were you like the second? I lost track. Was the IMA the first one?
So, Permaweb Journal was the first one that went live. IMA was the second one, but it was announced first. But yeah, Permaweb Journal was the first. Like, essentially came out as a prototype, so we were still testing out all the different features there.
And the whole idea of portals. So again, Odyssey, yeah, you think Odyssey video content. Portal is going to be more like, I think I'm pretty sure Julian at Odyssey has called it this, the WordPress, like a decentralized WordPress type situation, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you can build any type of website and be able to have like an editor for the website, make it look the way you want it. Like Permaweb Journal looks like a blog or like a publication, but someone else could build a website in their own way.
So like, and there's like the UCM part of it, like is the whole idea that like people can set permissions on their content. So like if I'm a drawer, I'm a writer, and I say, okay, you guys can repost this stuff for like 50 cents each, and someone can kind of automatically do that. Is that the general gist?
Yes, that's I think the next phase of it. There will be like a say like a token gated aspect or like a subscription aspect. Like there's different ways that they're looking into monetizing it. Right now they're still testing that, but yeah, it's gonna be essentially like a platform where creators can post their stuff. It's always gonna be on Arweave. They can prove the provenance and yeah, monetize it.
What's sort of like the mission or the motto? You guys need a tagline. Does the Perma Journal have a tagline yet? Like all the news that's fit to print or something like that. All the news that's fit to say forever. That you got to. But what's sort of like the driving, ethos or goal of the Permaweb Journal?
For things
So
you want to remember, there's the Permaweb Journal. For everything else,
Everything
yeah,
you want to
like
remember? Okay, I can get down with that. Yeah, okay.
I also think too, I've been thinking about lately is that like the Permaweb Journal could be a place for like just culture on Arweave. Kind of like there's a lot of like lore that is like not talked about enough. I feel like we really talk about Arweave and like the Permaweb about we talk about it in a very like technical way, but I feel like there's some really interesting use cases or even like future ideas. I mean the recent video that you did with Sam talking about the digital consciousness, and there's like some like crazy ideas that can be developed when you have permanent data storage and you have verifiable compute. So I think there's like some interesting lore there. So I always like to try and say like Permaweb Journal is a like home for like culture, like Permaweb culture. So yeah, I gotta think of a better motto for that, but I think that's like the
We're gonna
direction I'm
workshop
going
it.
with.
We're gonna workshop it. Yeah, I saw your
Yeah.
tweet the other day. No one has ever said that was too much lore. I was thinking, Alex, I have said that. I have looked at people and be like, stop talking, bro. But I do appreciate that there is a lot of lore in the ecosystem. What it like is it is it hard to like it's very technical, right? At this point. Um, how does that strike you in terms of making like finding the balance between covering important developments that are often technical, but also like, keeping it fresh. So like people who maybe aren't serious devs or are like, oh, okay, this is really cool. How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely try and like the tone I take and the tone that Pierre takes, who writes a lot of the articles, is that try to make it like accessible for people that are outside of our small little ecosystem. And I think too, it's like what like are we even like how are we even AO is built? It's that like it really is kind of like an extension of like the traditional web. It's not like this like people always say like oh we're building a new web and like web 3, but it's like no, like this works together with the traditional web. Like it works. I mean, AO, like the hash paths, or you can verify compute right in your browser. You can see like Arweave transactions, just search in your browser as well. So like, I think it's like an extension of the traditional web. So like I think there's ways to kind of describe all this in ways that people from like traditional web development or just people that are interested in online tech and culture would understand. So that's like what we're going for with the tone there.
And shout out to our boy Pierre. We're gonna get you on your own special episode. So it's mostly you and Pierre's writing? Is it like what's the team? Is it you guys? I know Jaja's been helping with the design. Okay, small but scrappy team.
Yeah, it's just us two right now, but we are for the print edition we had a bunch of different external contributors, and we're gonna yeah continue to work with other writers, other people, even some people outside the ecosystem have had some interesting ideas about pieces to write. So we're gonna start expanding it to have more diverse voices, people from different backgrounds and perspectives. So it's not just like a echo chamber just from like our core team or something like that.
All right, cool. If you guys ever want a 10,000 word essay about the lore behind the series Redwall, about the mice who were knights, no one? No
Oh
one's
yeah,
heard of this book. Yeah, yeah.
I love
Jaja's cool. Okay, yeah. I'll write that. I
I
don't know
love
what it has to do with the
I love that.
permaweb, but I'm all about that lore. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and you okay? Physical magazine here. What was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like like we all spend so much time online. We're like in front of computers all the time, and I feel like it's kind of like nostalgic to be able to hold physical media. Like I feel like it's coming back now where people like to have vinyls, they like to have physical books, and I think magazines are kind of making a little comeback. You go to like I don't know any like indie bookstore or like coffee shop, and people are selling zines and like little like coffee table books and stuff. So I was really interested in that. And I think it's like such a cool counterbalance to have like a very like online ecosystem, have a print magazine. So I was like really wanted to go for that. And also give people like something that they can like physically hold, and they can, I don't know, log off for a bit and like read a book. And I think like we all could, like I hate saying like go out and touch grass and stuff, but like we all could like use some time to like go and like do something like IRL.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
God,
saw something.
you're such a hipster. You were born for Brooklyn, man. But the thing about
Oh
Brooklyn
man.
is no store around here just sells one thing. Everyone has to marry two or more random ideas into one store. My favorite is that, have you seen the place in Williamsburg that's a coffee shop and also a motorcycle store?
Oh,
Uh,
heck
like
yeah.
like 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 no store around me, like the local wine place by me is wine and records. Like no one can just do one thing. It's like, oh, there's a wine record and a dress store. Fuck it, we'll just throw everything in the book.
I was gonna
I met
say Alex is more Bushwick. He's
such a
more.
Bushwick. Like, yeah, no, you're destined for that. Don't fight it, man. Don't fight it.
Push.
Yeah, are we allowed to say anything about Togan? I should have checked with you before that, or should we just like mysteriously tease?
Yeah, so yeah, there will
None of
be.
us ran this by lawyers beforehand. That's great. I
Yeah,
agree. It's a good job by
yeah,
us.
we did not. But all right, well, it's already out there now, so yes, there will be a token, and it's not going to be
Eh,
like our I think it's going to be unique. It's going to be different than our typical token drops, and it's yeah, we're looking at this as like a this is like a unique like art, like a creative drop, sort of like a I don't know how to put it, but yeah, it's there will be a token. It's going to be, I think, a unique way to claim, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I wish I could share more, to be honest, but I can't get too much into
no,
details.
it's okay. We like the alpha. We like the alpha. What's it like for you, um, documenting? You know what I mean? Like it's such a like when I think of all the roles in Web3, the documentation, like the historian, the artist, is not usually part of like the tech stack and most normal. Like, what's that like from you, like documenting this on a day-to-day basis? Is it interesting for you? Does it give you insights? Do you like, in the course of writing your articles, be like, yeah, why did we do things this way?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of my days are like I just am just going through a lot of our like technical docs and making like a personal archive of what we're building, like what's being built on like HyperBEAM, AO, like all the different repos. And also too, I feel like I've been going down like rabbit holes lately of just reading into like some of like tech philosophy and history. And I think tying that into like what's going on today, I think is really important, like to not forget like how like we got here at the web and like all these different changes and developments. And yeah, because there's like a lot of different perspectives. I mean, there's you can see just in like the West Coast versus East Coast in US, like the Silicon Valley perspective to building things, and the European perspective to building things, and yeah, I think there's like very interesting things to document there. So I'm trying to just like make sense of all that into like what we're building as well.
You know,
It's
go ahead, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I just thought it was interesting that you talked about how like basically things in the world kind of led up to this ecosystem of decentralization. And the thing that actually attracted to me the most to it was something people probably only partially associate with it, but you bring it up pretty well, that um, like, there's different ways of going about it, but the thing that it always strikes me is that this idea of everything has to be decentralized basically forces it so that people have a say in what's happening. And the core principle of, you're allowed to control the flow of information and see everything. Like everything's free flowing, it's an open market. You can't squeeze it unless you own the market, but that's a whole different conversation. And what that always aligned with to me in my mind was the core principles of basically just freedom, of like, America's a good example. We came over and we were like, oh, we don't want governments telling us what to do. We want something that the people run. They wanted decentralization, and back then they didn't have tech to make it, forced. So they created a republic. I always find the huge coexistence there between the type of technology we've ended up with, the pure decentralization forms of it, like Arweave and like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the principles that they reflect that are very, very old, like from the 1800s, 1700s, but we're reforming them with the cypherpunk ethos. So it's very cool and very hip, but if you get down to the root of it, a lot of it's extremely old.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is why I've gravitated towards kind of this community, this ecosystem, where I feel like it kind of holds true to that ethos and perspective. Where I feel like yeah, a lot of the crypto and Web3 stuff is a lot of just I don't know, like a lot of like there's a lot of jargon and kind of like vaporware stuff, and I feel like yeah, kind of people like lost the kind of like lost I don't know the word, but yeah, like lost the path there. So I think it's interesting that yeah, that like we've kind of stayed true to that, and I think that that makes sense that for this.
They sold out. That's what they did. But
Yeah,
we
that's the
haven't.
way. Yeah.
Well, actually, this touches into to a follow-up question, which is how much do you think? And this question is for the Permaweb Journal, but also for like the Permaweb as a whole. Is how much do you think we should be divided in between advocacy and sort of like neutrality, I guess is the word, which is like should we beat our chests saying this is the right way, decentralization, open source, all that stuff, or do we merely provide the avenue for people should they choose that? You know what I mean? Like we always talk about like the downsides to walled gardens and like like third parties, central points of failure and stuff like that. So we clearly think it's bad. But to what degree should we be aggressive in preaching that, or is our role to be, the option for people who feel that way themselves, and if they want to come over, they come over. And I would say that to you as a journalist for the Permaweb Journal, but also just in general.
Yeah, that's a really great question and something I think about a lot because like I do like truly believe that like what we're building is like is important. I think it really is like really novel technology and ways to build this, but it's like we kind of sometimes come across as like pedantic and like very like, oh well, like this is better because we did it the right way and everyone else is doing it wrong. And I think that like rubs people the wrong way at times where we just sound like a bunch of nerds that know better than everyone else. And I think it's better when like you build good technology, good tools and utilities that people then discover and start using. Like I feel like some of the coolest things I've seen would be like someone sharing about a yeah, like a use case with Arweave and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're getting let's say like with the let's for example like in Hong Kong when those that Apple News Daily was getting censored. People discovered Arweave and they started using it to archive the magazine there. And I think like when we just like provide the tools, show that people like, hey, like this is something you can use if you need it, have permanent data storage, and not be like this very like beating our chest, like oh we're so much smarter than everyone else. Is like this great technology. I think yeah we have to like find that balance there. But of course like you do have to like market your products, things that you're building to get it out there. So you got to find that balance, I guess.
Tony and Jeff, I'm actually curious about your opinion about this as well.
Yeah. There's like multiple layers, right? There's Arweave, and then there's AO and HyperBEAM, and um, it is kind of like a really tricky one with crypto, especially unless it's like speculation. Like the biggest product market fit right now is like DeFi in some capacity, like being able to, because it's crypto is money. But Arweave is in like, and that's kind of like the AO Hyperbeam section because it allows you to kind of transact and do stuff with the data. But Arweave, it can do much more than that. That can be like social layer, etc. Um, but with Arweave specifically, it has like this um, anti-censorship, transparency. It has like a, a unique um, product market fit, maybe. But is it? But does that product market fit only happen when the world is burning? I don't know, and maybe over time, which is the mission, right? Like over time, eventually people will start, one by one, saying that, oh, this is actually a way better solution. And I think that's kind of like the ethos of it. But it's a really hard one with like AO and HyperBeam to be like beating your chest like our tech is better than their tech. We're faster than them, or we're more decentralized. And this is really tough to get to sell to like normal people of like um, uh, them to be like, yeah, I'm gonna use that. I think it comes down to like apps, right? Like apps that people can use and that they don't get frustrated using. And that's kind of like where we're headed um, as the infrastructure gets ironed out. I think that's where it will start to see stuff and like Portal and Odyssey and these unique things. I think will be the answer. I don't think DeFi or anything like that. I think that could be part of it. But I think for the R-Wave community, we need more something different. We have to offer something different. I think that's kind of the angle.
Right on, right on. Shawnee, what do you think?
I'd agree with that. I think Arweave has always kind of taken its own path with this stuff, and I think pushing forward with that uniqueness is going to be what makes it stand out. Because like when you think of the ecosystem of tokens and coins and stuff out there, it's all very overshadowed by memes. But when you look at the old pillars of the ecosystem, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, and now it's Arweave. So those, it's going to be one of those pillars forever, as long as it's around for the next, hundreds of years. And that's Arweave's unique like stake in this whole ecosystem overall is it's not actually competing with Ethereum or Bitcoin or these main ones. It's not claiming to be a store of value. It's not claiming, all of these other things. Now AO obviously does compete with Ethereum a little bit because it is a decentralized world computer. But just talking about Arweave itself, it has its own, claim to fame. And then AO being on top of it takes advantage of that data hosting, that superiority there, and then adds like, oh, hey, we can do like what Ethereum does, but we can, optimize it here with the actor model. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Right on, right on. Actually, I think something Jeff said really stuck out of me, where it's like our product market fit only makes sense if the world is burning. Well, good news for us because the world is fucking on fire, guys. I see little kids getting zip tied and dragged into vans in Chicago. You can get arrested for putting out the wrong tweet in the UK. That is a true, unbelievable statement. The world is on fire. I also think that like we do have a tendency to be seen as like very nerdy, but like to be honest, I think it's very if you look at a different prism, very I'm trying not to use the word masculine because that's so sexist, but like very ballsy. That's also sexist. I'm doing a terrible job here, but like it's like,
Toxic
oh, you
nerdlinity here.
like you want to be this subservient like little wagey to a state that constantly surveils you, that gives you permission to everything you do, or do you want to grow a sack and create your own future? Join us. So that's kind of my feelings about the advocacy thing.
I'm
I,
coining that, Drew. Grow a stack. That's
just grow a
totally that
sack
is now
and
a term. Grow a stack.
yeah, grow a stack. Actually, that's you could be onto something there. Alex, and you seem like a very artsy guy. What cultural primitive? I had to think long and hard about how I'd phrase this. What cultural primitive is missing right now that you think we don't have? So I just heard us say that we kind of feel like we have a nerdy vibe. What cultural primitive would you say, or like thing that we should add in to make us I don't know if I would say more appealing, just to make us more well-rounded, let's say.
So I think, yeah, definitely something more in the arts field. I mean, I think, yeah, there's gonna be some like killer app or social platform that's gonna be tie in, yeah, some new type of media that's has like a social aspect to it that doesn't feel like, I don't know, like AI slop. That's the thing that like bothers me is that like all of our social feeds are either like bot generated like feeds or art and stuff like that. And I think people are kind of longing for like an app where like you can actually like, make like real life connections and share their art or music. And so I really would love to see that. And also like kind of going back to the why I did the print for the Permaweb journal is that like I really missed physical media, and I do think there's also an aspect of like people kind of longing for like IRL like meetups and being together with people, and I think there's will be something interesting if there could be some type of app or social experience that is maybe like online first, but then IRL after, maybe like to use it to like set up meetups, something like that, some type of like interesting way to socialize that's not just strictly like online behind behind our computers and very much going to get taken over by like just I don't know, overtaking my bot content. So something along that line, online to IRL, I think would be a fun primitive.
The kids yearn for the Facebook poke. The youngins these days, they don't know that was the golden age of social media. You know, you just log on to Facebook, you could put up 20,000 pics of your like underage party last night. No adults are on there. You poke a couple of people. You know, like we peaked. We peaked in I don't even want to say how long ago that was. I'm not gonna betray, but that was it. I will say there is a little bit of contract. First of all, I'm buying what you're selling on the IRL event. So you're one of these anti-AI slop guys, right? Like you're big anti-AI slop.
I mean, there's definitely a time and place. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't use it to like proofread stuff I'm writing and like help like clean up my writing and like use it as like an editor or proofreader. But like, yeah, I mean, you can really tell when stuff's just AI generated.
M dashes. The biggest thing now is do not leave M dashes in your text. People immediately, it goes straight into the this is AI in their head as soon as they see an M dash.
Yeah,
Well, just
it's
it's
brutal.
amateurs. You just tell the AI put a semicolon where the M dash was. You're golden, baby. Like I cracked that nut a long time ago. Are you kidding me? Um, uh,
I,
there's a little bit of an irony here, though, right? Because one thing AO does really well is agents, right? Like you could almost call us like I'm just thinking this right now, like the agent chain. Like on the dexes, a lot of those dexes in the early days at least were designed not for human trade. I mean, they could trade, but for you to spin up an agent on your behalf. I wonder if like the what we're missing here is again uh the tail wagging the dog, which is the agents handle the boring shit so we can hang out IRL. And right now it's a little bit too much of the other way where we feel like a little bit slavey to the agents. And like you guys are supposed to be ones freeing us up so we can get kicking it with Alex and Bushwick.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it there. Yeah, let them do all the trade and make us money. Yeah.
No, the that kind of I was curious to ask you about that, Alex. What you think about just going off of Drew's point there? Because I've thought about this a lot too, in terms of yeah, like if you're do you believe, are you buying what all these big tech guys are saying about like, okay, we're going in the future, it's going to be all robots and AI agents. No one's going to have to work, and you only have to work on the things that you actually like doing, and no one has to worry about money anymore. I think I heard like Elon talk about this, all the Sam Altman, like all these guys are talking about it, and I'm like, I'm not, I, I'm just curious, like why they're all converged and seeing the same thing here, and how that doesn't just sound like you know, it sounds like a utopia, but also usually utopia is a dystopia, like if you think about it. But yeah, what is your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does kind of yeah, it does like at first glance like rub me the wrong way. It's like kind of promising this utopia, and I feel like whenever like Silicon Valley like promises you a utopia, it's like never quite exactly what they say. I mean, I mean, I do think like we definitely should be like innovating as much as possible, like trying to find novel ways to use AI. I do think like kind of outsourcing kind of like the human part of it, like kind of like if you're outsourcing like critical thinking and maybe you're learning or writing and creating, and I think that is scary. I mean, like it makes sense to use it for like really like specific use cases with like let's say like in the medical fields to find out like different diseases, diagnosis, and also in yeah, I mean in finance, I mean it makes sense. It's like they do it like agents will be able to trade way better than humans can. Like it's I do like think like I'm definitely like, very much like pro AI. I'm not like anti AI, but I do think like there is like some human aspect lost to the creative process for people there. So I would hope that there's still like I don't know, like use like a use for humans to do what we do best, and that's be creative and like think and have these novel ideas. I mean, we've always came up with like crazy stuff, and I hope that we can continue doing that.
So what would you do in that utopia? Like, say if you didn't have to worry about money or anything like that, what
Oh,
would
this is
you
a great question. Fuck yeah,
how
Jeff.
would,
This is a
how would
great
you
question.
Oh
spend
I
that
mean,
man.
I'm
day?
so invested.
Just one day, how would you spend that day?
I have
Uh,
a quick theory on that. He'll spend his day working with the robots that do his work for him.
that's true. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's also the aspect too. It's like we might not do the same work, but we're still gonna be doing work in somehow. It might be like training agents to do something. It might be like training AI models to do something. So like, yeah, well, I mean, could be
Just
still
like the
just
invention of the car.
yeah, it's literally that. I mean, it's created a bunch of new jobs. So I do believe that too. So I don't know. I don't want to sound like too pessimistic about that.
Okay, you guys did not answer Jeff's question at all. Jeff, I'm going to ask you.
Oh man.
Jeff, God, this is the most interesting question I've heard in a million years. Jeff, what would you do? And not just one day. Elon Musk and Sam Altman, even though they're the two slimiest, scariest, most lizard-like people on the face of the planet, they were right. Unbelievable. Robots do our jobs. We're in a utopia. Jeff, what are you doing?
I am not gonna be here right now in Vancouver while it's raining. I'd probably be like in somewhere else, like that's warmer, maybe Mexico right now. But like, yeah, I don't know. Just I think it would be honestly like a lot of the same stuff I'm doing, um, designing and stuff like that. Um, but I would be probably just pursuing. Yeah, I would probably be going through an existential crisis. Probably that's what I would be doing. I'd be probably like what do I do now? Like, what can I do? I'm gonna be watching TV, I guess. Going on Netflix. Um, I don't know. I think I'd be honestly probably having an existential crisis. It'll be like nice the first 3 months, and then I'd be like, what am I gonna do? Like, what is the point? I don't know, Drew. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally don't buy that because I think that's the initial thing. Like this happens, you probably have a solid year of vegging out on the couch, just Netflix binging, like just the worst possible scenario that whenever everyone talks about, we're talking about universal basic income here, right? I always thought that like, yeah, there's gonna be initial like you just let yourself go. But dude, I'm telling you, like even a month of that, even the most hardcore degenerate, eventually like that's a long time. And like a year, if you look at like the Renaissance era, like pick a random guy who's like super famous, like Sir Isaac Newton or whoever, and you read their biography, it's like he inherited like the equivalent of like $10 million in today's money. Like you can only truly veg out so hard until eventually you're like, all right, I gotta do something here. And then you look at all the famous Renaissance, they basically all inherited money, had no jobs, and spent their entire lives just like, I think I'm gonna try and solve some math problems, and that's how they got famous. I really think that like, yeah, the short term ugly, but people have an intended like need to get it together, and like a life is a long ass time. Even if you waste 10 years of it, and you've got another 50 to go, like you're gonna do some stuff with your life. I totally lost track of how we got down this rabbit hole, but
No,
it's one of my like my most pet peeves where people are always like, ah, people are just gonna lie around the couch. Like, trust me,
yeah,
I was the biggest slacker in my life, and eventually after like 10 years, you got to do something. Like even being like vegging after 10 years gets boring. I hope people are still watching after this incredibly long diatribe. Um, but I will say, you know what's funny is like in all seriousness, one thing I was actually thinking like because I might write creatively. I like to write creatively if money was not a thing. And Alex, you're actually like the super rarefied air in the year of 2025, 26. The number of professional writers in the world is probably on the palm of my hand. And so I'm kind of curious, like, do you have any, first of all, what are your thoughts on writing as a profession? And second of all, do you have any advice for like writers out there right now?
I mean, yeah, I mean I love writing. I would love to be able to just creatively write if money wasn't a concern and be able to have all the time in the world to do that. I definitely would love to do it as much as I can. And I think but like to answer your question about like what would I like what advice would I give to like other writers would be like I'd say like you definitely can find time to write. And I think this is something like Drew, you told me this before. It's like you can find time in the day. It's just it might be like an inconvenient time. It might be like really early in the morning before you go to your job, or it might be like late at night when you put the kids to bed or get home from work. And like there is time to like get some done, but it's like hard though. Like you have to definitely like focus and like I mean, I'm in like a definitely like a loop at times where I'll go and like be scrolling X or be just constantly like looking at yeah, Instagram, whatever it is. And I think like you have to kind of like unplug for a bit, like sit down, write and like get some get something down and then from there, I think that's like you get the ball rolling. So I think there's definitely like some friction at first to get it going, but once you get past it, I think it gets better once you like build a routine.
If I had to give people out there one piece of advice, and this is golden, and no one wants to do it because it's so painful, is write the whole piece, whether it's like a blog, a book, a play, whatever. Find the absolute best sentence and that whole and make it soup to nuts, all the way till you're done. You're like, okay, I've got my first draft. Find the absolute best sentence. That is your introduction, and delete everything else, and then rewrite from there. It
Thank
is
you.
so
100.
painful. It is
Wow.
so painful to watch all that writing delete. But if you do that, because it's your best sentence, you've already done it, it'll flow. It'll just like bam, 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 bam. That is one thing I pushed off for like pieces of writing for mine for years because you wrote it. It's all long. You have like 300 pages. What are you doing, man? But if you can find that sacrifice and willing to take your best sentence, that's your introduction. Go from there. Oh, dude, your second draft is a masterpiece. It's just no one wants to do it because it's so like rough.
I think that's like the same approach like any creative field. I did that in music too. Like if you have like a crazy hook, and you're like, no, no, delete everything else.
Yeah,
We're restarting over. This is the new thing,
yep,
and then yeah, everything has to be on that same level. Even
yep.
coding, anything works the same way.
Yep, 100%. Alex, if it's this time next year, we're doing another dub. I'm checking in with you. It's the year 2026. We're about to 27. What do you think of the Permaweb Journal will have written about? What are some of your top articles from the future? Like, what do you think the vibe is? What are some of the things you might have implemented that you haven't had time yet, but in a year's time, you will?
Yeah, so I mean, I hope a year from now that there's a killer app, a killer project that's building on Arweave and AO that is being used by a much larger audience and I can I'd love to be able to like highlight that, showcase that. And also I would like it to turn into a full-on media like a media ecosystem for the permaweb. So if someone wants to learn about anything about R or even AO, that Permaweb Journal will be this not even just a magazine, but a full-on publication, have other media forms, and also would love to be able to collaborate with other writers that maybe aren't even involved in tech, that might be involved in other scenes that would have interesting perspective. So I just would like it to be like much bigger, much more broader and professional.
Yeah. The number one piece I'm dying for you to see is go find a full time, like get the travel budget, like traveling and going and profiling people where they are. At one time, I was at the Avalanche Summit 2 years ago, and I got stuck at a table with these NFT artists who had been hired to make like some interactive thing, and they were traveling in a van around Mexico, and they purposely timed their trip to the Baja, was it Gulf of California, Baja Peninsula, so they could experience the energy of the whales migrating and giving birth in the Gulf. And I've never been more riveted in a conversation in my life. That was the most interesting dinner I've ever had. And if you were to do like a profile of these guys, I would read 50,000 words about it. So that's my request for you is convince Sam to let you go travel and like follow people. Like I would read the hell out of that.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I feel there's so many interesting people out there. We gotta get out. Yeah, you have to get out there and talk to them, meet them.
All right. Well, that's it. I cannot possibly talk before anymore before I lose my voice. Johnny or Jeff, any other questions for Mr. Alex?
I think I covered it for me.
Yeah, all good. This is a good conversation.
It was fun. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, Jeff.
it.
I appreciate you. Yeah. All right, all right. Well, Mr. Alex, we can't wait to see what you write next. Viewers out there, appreciate you tuning in. Until the next episode of the Centralized Underground Headquarters. See you guys.